They're not going to release one next week. What's going on?
No, because Coppola, Scorsese can also say that this is not fun cinema. If you agree with these words or not, because you also adapted a comic book, and he wants to know your opinion about it.
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
Don't blame me. You know, when I made The Crow, even then, 25 years ago, it was a response against, it was anti-superhero, right?
Yeah.
It was trying to make, you know, Tim Burton's Batman was that era, right? That was the sort of the popular version of superheroes. And, you know, Tim's stuff was supposedly dark, but not really, you know, it was dark only with the paint on the wall, really. Conceptually, it wasn't really that dark, you know. Batman, inherently as a character, is dark, I guess. But Tim's was still pretty, it was fun, it was for kids, you know, it was like a feel-good kind of thing, you know, which is not what I do. I don't do that stuff, you know. So I wanted to do a really dark, inspired by sort of 70s Hollywood, you know, cinema that I liked, you know, like, you know, the Scorsese movies and Coppola and, you know, French Connection and stuff like that, you know. Which I love that era of movies, you know. So that's what I was trying to do, that take on a superhero, you know. And the comic book seemed to support that approach to that character. You know? Even like Brandon's trench coat came from that era of movies, you know, that was what we were trying to do. Now we have, so that's why I say I'm not responsible for superheroes now. Now it's a very different thing, you know. Now it's, and you know, look, I don't want to seem to be like critical of comic books. I love comic books. I was a comic fan from a long time before all this stuff became movies, you know, from when I was a kid. I like more you know, I love the French and the Belgian comic artists. I love Moebius is like one of my great inspirations. Not so much superheroes. Superheroes to me are, it's escapism, it's a wish fulfillment. It comes from, you know, the nerdy guy wanting to have muscles and beat up the big guy and have all the girlfriends, you know. And that's what Marvel is to me, you know. And I was offered some of the Marvel movies. I was offered specifically the first Iron Man, which started all this stuff off, you know. And I turned it down because I just didn't like it. I don't like the American flag waving that's going on, and I didn't like the script, and it was very, very militaristic, and I just, those characters just don't do anything for me. You know, Captain America with a American flag on his shield, it's like, for fuck's sake, you know. So it's never been my cup of tea, and more to the point now, cut to 2019, this stuff has taken over, and this is what Coppola and Scorsese are saying. People don't understand that what they're saying is this stuff is killing movies. It goes beyond them saying it's not cinema. They're actually being polite. I'll say they're fucking killing movies. They're destroying movies because they're the studios only want to make them because of the profit they make from them at the expense of everything else. There's no longer, you know, alternative mainstream big budget movies. There's Marvel, Disney remakes of crappy animations that I took my daughter to see The Lion King, and she hated it. She loves the original, you know. She's my 11-year-old daughter who, fortunately she's my daughter, so she has good taste, you know. But so there's Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, and there's independent movies, right? There's nothing else. There's original fantasy movies, and when one gets made, like recently Ad Astra, which I was praying that it would be successful, no one goes to see it because it doesn't have a fucking, you know, guy in his underpants in it. So it's a complete disaster. It's a total disaster, and my real concern is I describe it like a train riding at 100 miles an hour into a brick wall, because it's not like some people say, oh, it's okay, it's like the Western was once the main genre. Well, that's not true. The Western was, yes, it was a big genre and a lot of Westerns were made, but at the same time, the war movie was also a big genre. The musical was also a big genre, right? In the 70s, the crime movie was a big genre, but there were other things going on. There were other mainstream Hollywood movies being made, so that when the Western eventually collapsed because the audience didn't want to see Westerns anymore, there were other things blooming in the garden that we could then, the finance could go to those things and encourage new things to grow. Now, there's nothing, right? So when the superhero dies, the superhero will die. I don't know when, I hope soon. But unfortunately, when the superhero dies on the big screen, that will be the end of movies. Big screen will be gone, right? So that's why Scorsese and Coppola are saying what they're saying. But they're trying not to say to the extreme that I'm saying it, because they're obviously a lot more famous, and they've already gotten so much shit just from saying this one thing that, my God, if they said anything like this, they would be, you'd find them hanging from a tree somewhere. So anyway, I joke about it because I have that sort of sense of humour, but it's a very serious concern, very, very serious concern for people who love movies as I do. Sure, it's part of it too.